Hello and welcome back. This is Christopher Aaron, your editor. It is January 12th, 2023. I hope you had a fantastic new year. I want to tell you that coming up in less than 3 weeks, I'm going to be speaking live in person at the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference. This is in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. My talk is going to be Monday, January 30th at 1:40 in the afternoon Pacific time. And I'm going to tell you something in a moment that they don't even know about my talk yet at Cambridge House because I haven't given them the subject of my talk. I'm going to reveal that here for you first. But I want to tell you, if you're anywhere in the area, if you're in Washington State or Seattle, or if you're anywhere in the Metro Vancouver area, I highly suggest that you attend this, especially if you're first getting to really understand this industry. This is one of the largest investment conferences in North America, and this conference covers precious metals, commodities, as well as a heavy focus on the mining industry. It's a great conference. There are a lot of excellent minds that will be speaking there. But it's just great to go to soak it all up and to kind of discuss what's happening with the different companies, talk to your favorite speakers. Real excellent opportunity. So if you're going to be there, make sure you stop by the talk at 1:40. Come say hi to me. I would love to meet you. Nothing would be better. We could chat. We could exchange email addresses. And it would just be great to finally put some faces to names. So I hope you can make it. Now, I want to tell you ahead of time, the topic for my talk is going to be the gold forecast for 2023 through 2025. So we're looking out 2 years into the future in this talk. One other thing, this conference is completely free to attend. So I'm going to post the registration link below. You're supposed to register before you walk in there, and please do that and come say hi. Once again, completely free. We will have a gold market update today. Before we do that, I want to reiterate for you all why I think this is so important. And when I say this, I mean the entire investment landscape. It's not just to have a bunch of cash, so that when you die, you just have a pile of money underneath you one day. No, that is not the point. The point of this, why investing is so important from a big picture standpoint, is that it is your ticket to freedom. Let's talk about 3 specific examples of freedom, human sovereignty, that you get when you get to a sufficient point in your investment career. Number 1, let's imagine there's another pandemic. Or let's say it's a slightly different catastrophe of some sort, a climate crisis or a war. And for one reason or another, your home government, as we've seen many governments do over the last few years, goes a little bit crazy and they start locking everyone down and robbing people of their freedoms and not letting you out of the house and not let you take care of yourself and your family or go to your job. What if you have the means where you have already secured a house in another country that you own outright? So not only do you have your primary residence, you have a second house in another country. Think about how that would change the dynamic if governments do this crazy shit again, where they try to lock everything down. That's the first example. Second, think about this. Not only do you own a house in another country, but you actually have another passport to your name, so that when you leave your country, you can go to another place where you are welcome, where you can earn a living, and where you can stay for as long as you damn well please. But you know what, something? You have to have the resources to be able to achieve these kinds of things. If you are just scraping by, if you're just living month to month, paycheck to paycheck, or year to year for that matter, you are not going to have these options, and you are going to be in the category of people that get swept away by the tidal wave of inflation that is coming our way. In order to survive the period that is ahead, you must have disposable resources, and you must position those resources to be a beneficiary from the inflation. You can't let yourself get taken down from the storm, from the politicians, from the central bankers. Do not be one of these victims that's always crying about how they're out to get us. No. Take action, set resources aside now, and look at the opportunity that is directly in front of us. Right here. The gold market is setting up in a fantastic manner. I want you to look at what I'm showing you here in this presentation and think about this as one of those opportunities. You know what the amazing thing about the investment world is that you only have to be right once in your entire life, and then you change your life for the rest of it altogether. One time. So imagine if this recovery that we're seeing here in gold right now, and gold is trading just below 1900. Imagine if this is going to be for real. And when you watch the video today, you're going to see our outlook for gold. And then when you watch the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference show, you're going to see my outlook for gold through 2025. And you'll see the evidence for it. And if you see the kinds of calls that we've made in the past, you will know why we so strongly believe in this outcome. And so imagine if this is correct, and imagine if there are companies that are still trading for 10% of the valuation that they were trading at just 2 years ago, when gold was only $200 higher than it is today. And so the reversion potential that is possible, yes, is it going to be nice to have gold go from, let's say, 1900 back to 2100, maybe into the mid-2000s? We'll see when we get to that forecast. Sure. Is that nice? Yes. Is that about a 20 or 25% return? Yes. But from a 20 or 25% return, you are not going to be flying to another country and buying a house in cash and securing a second passport. The other thing you're not going to be doing from a 20 or 25% return is telling your employer, hey, you know what? Thanks, but I've had enough. I'm going to take off for the next few years, and I'm going to focus on my investment career. And in my free time, I'm going to spend time in nature with my children or my dog, or I'm going to go spend time working on my tan, or I'm going to go help people less fortunate than myself, or any of those things under the sun that you want to do with your own time. If you're only thinking about a 20% return here over the next 2 years, I'm sorry, it's not going to happen with that. I want to show you the opportunity that is right in front of us. Remember, you only have to be right once in your entire career to change your life forever from that point. And I think one of those opportunities is setting up right now. And when the next opportunity is, I don't know. It might be 10 years from now. So do not let this one pass you by. Please make note of our legal disclaimer for one moment. Think about the type of freedom you want to have in your life. What sort of things do you want to be able to do that are currently out of your reach that actually would be possible if you had a 5x or a 10x or a 15x return on your investments here over the next several years? Gold chart. We have had 2 attempts at the all-time high zone in the price range of 2,075. Now, what has happened here over the last few months is so critically important. And I was waiting for the end of the holidays. I was waiting for the first full week of 2023 to be past us. That is about to happen tomorrow in order to say that this is the deal. And now we have a very good roadmap of what to expect ahead. So you can see the very clear resistance turns support, 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 right there in black, multiple support tests right here at the 1680 level. What happened? Failed right there. Aha. But it wasn't a failure and a collapse, which is why when a failure happens, we do not turn our backs from the market. We keep monitoring the market because sometimes breakdowns end up being false breakdowns. And this is what we have seen this time in the gold market. There is an adage from technical analysis textbooks around the world. And technical analysis, by the way, goes back to analysis of the rice markets in Japan in the 1700s. In the 1700s is when they began to use Japanese candlesticks for technical analysis. Each one of these lines that you see is called one candlestick, for example. So this discipline is at least 300 years old. And this is what is called a false breakdown. And from false breakdowns tend to occur rapid moves in the opposite direction as the false move. In this case, that is going to be higher. This explains what we're starting to see here in the gold market. Not only was this a false breakdown of a horizontal support level, but this was a false breakdown of a much more significant 4-year rising trend. A double embedded false breakdown. You could not ask for a better setup, whether you're talking gold, silver, or the gold and silver miners. Like I said, opportunities like this come about once every several years, and it is possible that in the precious metals markets, we may be very close to the final blow-off move here, which could feature prices much, much higher than we've seen over the last 2 years. That will be the topic of the Vancouver presentation. For now, what do I expect? We've already cleared this little pivot point right here at 1880. This is an extremely strong move that is underway here. It's even taking me by surprise. That said, we are about to get into the functional resistance zone of these all-time highs. The exact figure was 2075 and 2070. Anything above 1975, you can see the resistance zone from a lot of the real bodies of these candlesticks here. You can see anytime gold poked its head above 1975, it really struggled to stay up there for longer than a week. So functionally speaking, anything above 1975 is going to constitute the third functional test of the all-time high resistance zone for gold. One thing you will learn if you study the markets long enough is that most of the time, a market will not break out on its third attempt at a specific resistance zone. Most of the time. Can I say anything 100% of the time? Of course not. No one can. But in the vast majority of instances that I have studied, that my colleagues have studied, these kinds of triple formations here do not represent the breakout point, but they also do not represent long-term tops. So this is key. So following this next attempt that is due any day, any month now, within the first quarter of this year for sure, we should be seeing one more scary pullback in the gold market. And this will be the final time to load the boat before what? Attempt number 4 presents itself. And it is attempt number 4 that is expected to be the final and successful attempt. Now, when we break down attempt number 4, once we get there, we can see that it may actually feature a series of mini attempts within the larger attempt. But functionally speaking, attempt number 4 is what we expect is the highest probability for the breakout for gold to new all-time, never before seen in the history of humankind prices for the Metal of Kings. This is the setup on the charts. Now, the actual target when we break 2075 is going to be the topic for the Vancouver Resource Investment Show Once again, that will be Monday, January 30th at 1:40 p.m. Pacific time at the show in Vancouver. I hope to see you there. Registration is free to attend. If you cannot make it, by the way, this will also be posted online. It's just it'll be a few weeks later. Typically, by the time they get everything polished up and posted, it's within a couple weeks. So, hope you can make it in person. This is our expectation for gold. Now, if you're looking at that and you're saying, well, here from 1900 back to 2100, what is that, a 10% move in gold? Just to get back to the all-time high. Just for argument's sake. Okay, 10% move in gold, right? Just to get back to the all-time high. Sure, that's nice. Once again, is that going to change your life? Is that going to allow you to tell your employer, hey, thank you for the time. It's been swell, but I'm going to take the next 10 years off and do things that I want to do with my time? Is that going to allow you to buy the boat that you want to buy so that you can get on the water and sail around the world for the next 2 years? Think about these kinds of things that you would like to do with your life. You only have to be right once. 10% move higher in gold, okay, to get back to the all-time highs. What should that translate in for the GDX? This is the Large Cap Gold Miners Fund. Just to get back to the same same highs from the present cycle that matched with the all-time high for gold there. What would that be? We can do the math right here. 32 and change, back up to 46, 42.9% return. Okay, a little bit better. Think about how much money you're investing in this sector. Is it $5,000? Is it $10,000? Is it $100,000? Would a 42.9% return of whatever that figure is for you, because everyone's in a different situation, but just do the math here for a second, would that number allow you to change the way you live your life? Would it give you that freedom that is so necessary to be a sovereign human being on planet Earth at this time? Would this number allow you to do it? For most people, the answer is no. It's just not enough. And this is what we can reasonably expect. We're talking reasonable targets just to get back to the cycle highs from 2020. All right, let's look at some other options. GDXJ, you can go down to the junior gold miners. And well, the junior gold miners are more leveraged than the senior gold miners. We can see that on the way down, they suffer terrible losses when the sentiment gets so bad, and even gold just moving sideways, but people are just saying, well, if gold's just going to move sideways, I'm going to sell my miners because I'm not interested in holding them. And so the miners fall more than the metal themselves. So if you're looking at this and saying, well, maybe if I allocate more to the junior miners, that's my opportunity to change what is possible in life. The junior gold miners should rise about 65% just to get back to the cycle high from 2020. Gold is only 10% away. This is not hypothetical anymore for gold. We can see the false breakdown. We can see gold slicing through pivot resistance levels as if they're not even there. So, reasonably speaking, we can expect a 65% return from the GDXJ throughout this period of time. Okay? Think about those numbers again. Are you investing $10,000? Are you investing $50,000? So what does 65% get you on top of 50,000? And then think about it. Is that going to be the way that you can perhaps buy that second property? So let's say you live in a high lockdown state like California or New York, and you're saying to yourself, well, I can't really leave this area because my whole life is here and my job is here and everything like that, but I do want to buy a second home. I want to own it outright. And instead of New York, you say, okay, I want that to be in New Hampshire. Or instead of California, you say, I want that second property to be in Idaho. Does the 65% of your portfolio, if you were to be more aggressive, does that get you there so that you can get away when you're ready to get away? That's a question for you to answer. I want to present to you the way that I am doing this and that our subscribers are doing this. Like I said, these opportunities come about once every 5 to 10 years. And if you do not seize them when they come about, I can't help you after that point. This is what I'm doing personally. I intend to change my life with this. Here's the setup. A gold miner based in Nevada, United States, politically safe jurisdiction, 1 million ounces of gold already in the ground. Nothing negative has happened with this company from here to here other than interest in the overall sector is the lowest that it's been in 5 years after gold has just been moving sideways, especially for the last 2.5 years here. We talked about how the sentiment, which is a psychological phenomenon, can deteriorate in the miners even when the metal itself simply moves sideways because people just get tired of it and they throw in the towel, and that causes the gold miners to languish when the metal itself only moves sideways. But if you understand that the value that is in this company is still similar to when it was trading at these former peaks, and if it's a company that has actually advanced their deposit here over the last 6 years, that it is quite possible that the company rises above these former peaks based on the new value in the ground. Then you start to look at this and you say, well, if I invested $10,000 into a situation like this, gold goes through its all-time highs, the psychology changes for the favorable once again. What is the potential here? And I simply want to show you that in this instance, this company that we are getting ready to buy shares in, it is 900%. Think about multiplying 10,000 or 50,000 or 100,000, however much you're investing, by these types of returns. And if you say, well, this is impossible, no, it happened back in 2015. This is the last time, late 2015 into 2016, is the last time that we've had a major psychology shift to the higher in the precious metals, and we haven't seen it yet. So if you understand this, if you understand that investing is half fundamentals and half psychology of the market, then you can say, well, the market is being irrational right now in these valuations, and this is that opportunity. Perhaps once in a lifetime, certainly once every 5 to 10 years, and it is right ahead of us. And you can see how quickly these things move. 6 to 8 months from the low to the high when the psychology shifts. Once again, nothing is guaranteed, but this looks like the best opportunity that we could possibly ask for. The topic of my talk is going to be the gold forecast, not just through the remainder of this year, but into 2025. Monday, January 30th. Cost is free. No excuse if you're in the area. I can't wait to see you. It'll be fantastic. If you do not want to wait for this talk about 3 weeks from now and you want to know the exact gold and silver miners that we are buying here, because I guarantee you we'll be buying a new one before the conference, because typically right after the conference is when a lot of sentiment starts to get more favorable, and it's possible these companies could be moving a lot higher before that point. But if you want to get involved with us right now, a service for you is called Precious Metals Intelligence Plus. Because not only do we cover the exact open market gold and silver miners that we are buying and selling here, but we also cover Bitcoin, the U.S. stock market, major currencies, other commodities, and of course silver. Precious Metals Intelligence Plus is available for you right now if you don't want to wait for the conference to learn about everything we're doing, including this gold miner I keep talking about. If you're a higher net worth investor, please understand the difference between open market investing and then private placement investing. Elite Private Placements is a service where we buy similar companies that we are buying in Precious Metals Intelligence. But if you can allocate $10,000 Canadian, which is about 8,000 US or about 7,000 British pounds, if you can allocate that amount for each investment, you receive much, much better terms than you receive if you buy the same shares in the open market. This is how it works. Unfortunately, it's just how it is. The market is stacked in the favor of the people that can invest more at one time. But don't let that get you down, because everyone starts somewhere, right? Everyone starts with their first $5 and says, how am I going to invest this? And then from there, you have your first 100, and then your first 1,000. And when you have your first $1,000, you cannot do private placements. So you keep building it. You keep building it. You keep doing the things you can do. You keep learning. You keep saving. You keep improving your own investment education. And then when you get to the point that you can allocate 10,000 Canadian dollars at a time in one of these companies, you get nearly twice the amount of upside as you do compared to buying the exact same companies in the open market. And that's because you receive free warrants with every single investment. Total game changer. But you have to be at that point in your career where you can allocate that amount of capital and where it wouldn't harm you if it oscillates for a while before it ever goes up. So think about those possibilities. I hope to see you in Vancouver. If you'd like to speak to me one-on-one, you can reach me on the consultations tab. Think about the kinds of things that you would like as far as personal freedom. Ultimately, do I think gold and silver have a special place in one's investment portfolio? Yes. As an emergency fund. As a total, if the shit hits the fan and the world is going up in a ball of flames, can you take your gold and your silver and get out of Dodge and start a new life somewhere? Yes. I think that's the point of the physical holding for gold and silver. Beyond that, the opportunity to change your life is not in the physical metals. It is in the companies that are searching for the metals that are so radically undervalued based on where they should be at today's gold prices, let alone higher gold prices, that this is very well likely one of those once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. Thank you, and I will see you for the next talk and hopefully meet you in Vancouver.